Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Retire Well, the show designed to help you build better lives. I'm your host, Kristin Oakley, and joining me in the studio are two members from Citizen Advisory Group. We have the co-founder and financial advisor, Kevin Bucher, and financial advisor, Pete Samenuk. We've got a great show for you today. The title of this episode is a fun one. It's You Can't Google Your Way to a Better Retirement. And I would add, you can't ChatGPT or AI your way to a better retirement. You're going to want to stick with us to hear what Kevin and Pete have to say about this important subject. Kevin, Pete, so good to be here with both of you. And I'm really curious for you to share your inspiration behind today's show content.
Yeah, excited to be here. Kevin, me and you again. I'm surprised we picked Kevin. Do you know what Google is?
Oh, hey now. These two, if you're new to us, they love to pick on each other.
That's not too new for you, is it?
I have heard of it.
Okay, so we're good. We're in good hands.
Okay, we're in good hands.
So.
No, but in all reality, I mean, this is something that we are navigating today as a society for all things, not just financial retirement planning,
Yes.
but I think this is going to be a crucial conversation.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just taking over emerging itself into financial services, it's emerging itself into everything we're doing. So understanding where the fit is appropriate and how to use it in an efficient way is, hopefully we'll shed some light on that today. But yeah, it's infiltrating everything we do in life.
Yep. Well, what's interesting is people have way more access to financial information than they have ever had before. Of course, we're using the term Google, we're using AI, but basically just online information, right? But does that actually mean better retirement information and ultimately retirement decisions?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, and hopefully we can give some good guidance in this area. But right now, I would say there's so much information that is available right at our fingertips when it comes to how to invest, when it comes to retirement planning. All the information is available. So I don't think it's an information problem; it's an application problem. So how do we take this information, which is oftentimes not complete, or and unfortunately still in this day it's not always accurate, but so the information is there, but how do we then apply that and apply it to our individual circumstances? Because the information generally is general. It's meant to be about the topic and provide guidance around the topic. But how do we take that general information and apply it to our own individual circumstances? So it's not necessarily an information problem, although we'll talk about this as we go, that you can't always trust the information either.
Right.
But it's about how do we apply this information, and that's where there's a disconnect. And I'll admit, in preparation for this show, I actually spent some time talking with my AI source and was asking, is artificial intelligence, is it going to replace me? And so we had an interesting conversation about that.
What did it have to say about that?
Well, the good news for Pete and I is that no, it will not replace us, but it can be used to enhance what we do.
Right, sure.
So that is the whole key. How do we use it
Yep.
to enhance what we're doing? But it really cannot replace the human element that comes with financial planning and retirement planning.
I would agree 100%. And so what's the real danger when folks just rely on something like Google or AI tools to make their own retirement decisions?
Yeah, and to Kevin's point, I mean, it's just, in you too, Kristin, it's just a very slippery slope right now. It's very new, it's changing very rapidly. And to Kevin's point, it's not really an information issue. I mean, well, I'd say it is kind of an information issue in that it's almost like there's too much information now, right? It's not that there's not enough information.
It's hard to sort through the noise.
There's so much
Right.
noise and so much information at this point. That's what becomes the issue. And it gives people, I think, a lot of false confidence and false hope that they think that the information that they're getting is completely accurate. They think that no matter what the AI is spitting out, that it's accurate. And I can think of multiple instances where it complements the work that we do. So some of the questions or scenarios that we'll be asking it, or just using it to kind of complement some of the casework, I find gaps in there all the time.
Yes.
I find gaps in misinformation. And
Yep.
if I didn't know the things that we knew from working in this for several years, decades almost at this point, I wouldn't recognize that that's misinformation. So it gives people false confidence, and it's hard to pick out what you don't know when it's giving you that like it's a fact.
Yes. Well, and not to go down this rabbit hole, but I have seen a lot of videos recently that detail how built into the algorithms of a lot of this AI technology, it's built to stroke your ego. It's built to make you think you are the best thing since sliced bread and that all your ideas are awesome because it wants you to keep coming back for more. And that's scary because it could be giving you the wrong information. You're feeling really good about it. Now it's making you feel good about yourself, but it's leading you down an incorrect path.
Yeah, in some ways it's like the perfect partner because it's very agreeable.
Right. Oh, yes. You were right. Oh, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you have to be able to understand how to challenge that information and ask so this was the thing about Google historically was Google is only as good as the questions that you're able to put into it.
Correct.
And so you have to, number one, you have to know the questions to ask. And number two, you have to know how to ask those questions. And number three, you have to know how to challenge the information and ask the follow-up questions. Now, AI has changed that a little bit because it's pretty good at kind of making a more complete picture, but the information, especially as we're in this changing world, you know, we've done shows in the past about the recent legislative changes of like the One Big Beautiful Bill, and it was really difficult to try to get accurate information because there was a lot of misinformation being put out there through the social media world, through the AI tools. So the information you have to be able to challenge.
Correct.
So
I yell at mine.
Yeah, well,
I'll be like, that's a really dumb idea.
and they agree with you, don't they?
They do, yes.
Yeah, and
it's
we've
scary.
had multiple, I was thinking about that. We've had multiple instances where we use it as a company. We use it for marketing strategy. We use it for all sorts of different
It's a great
things.
thought starter. I
It
will
is.
say
It's
that.
a great thought
Right.
starter. It can take the words and put them in kind of in an organized way that we might not be able to. But I almost wish it was less agreeable.
Yes.
You know, the thing about building a plan or doing things with the AI or making decisions, some of these decisions that you might be making these decisions and lifelong permanent decisions that might hurt you and your family that you can't undo. And the AI is not going to be there to hold you accountable.
Right.
And you're not going to be able to hold the AI accountable, right? You're going to have to read through dozens of disclosures and things that says, look, whatever you use this information for, we're not accountable for it.
Right.
So different than the human element where I think putting a financial advisor in a family office in that seat, we're there to hold you accountable. We're there to behavioral coach. We're here to make sure that you're not using misinformation to make lifelong and permanent decisions.
Well, we've already established you have to verify that the information is correct, which adds another layer to this equation. But even if you're being given the correct information, or dare I say, quote unquote, and I'm using that term loosely, advice, how can that still lead people in the wrong direction?
yeah, so the way you ask that, it's like you can get the right information, but that right information can still break the bigger plan because how connected the different areas of financial planning
Well, and it may
are.
not be right for you specifically,
Yeah,
right?
so two layers to that.
Yep.
Number one, it is going to give general information that might not be specific to your individual circumstances. So we have to deal with that element of it. But at the same time, you might get good information as it pertains to your tax situation without really understanding how that might have affected your investments or how that might have affected your income or your health insurance cost. So these things have to be connected together. So sometimes you get right information, it gives you the right direction, but it's isolated and it's not looking at the comprehensive picture, which is why we wrote this book, Built to Last.
Yes.
We want to get this book in as many hands as possible. So we are offering this at no cost. We even will cover the shipping. We have built our business on getting information out and helping educate people across these areas. So this book was with that in mind. So we have a complimentary offer for those that are listening to the show today. You can call or scan the QR code and we'll get you a copy of this book out. No cost, no shipping fees. And if it's super exciting information, it'll keep you up at night, but it also might help you sleep at night. Some of the sections might not be as exciting.
We got everything covered, right?
Yes.
But again, we encourage you to pick up your own copy of Built to Last. Again, the subtitle is From Confusion to Confidence, the Retire Well Guide to a Connected Retirement. And it's so generous of you all to offer this completely free of charge. Again, you don't even have to pay for shipping, so why would you not take advantage of this opportunity? Go ahead and scan that QR code and that will get you a copy of the book. Now, before we wrap up this segment, anything else you want to add about this whole DIY, Google, AI? I mean, are you seeing more folks trying to utilize that?
And what I would quickly say is that just the last, I'll try to keep this quick, but you're still doing all the work yourself. That's the biggest problem I see as well, is it might give you good information, some good ideas, some thought-provoking things, but you still have to do all the work. I could throw into ChatGPT or my whatever AI I'm using, how do I build a house? Where do I start to build a house? And it's gonna tell me that stuff, but I still have to go build the house.
Right.
I'm still gonna have to go put the drywall in and I don't know how to build a house.
Well, and I dare say if you don't
even know where to start.
ask the right question, or you don't know what questions to ask, what you don't know could absolutely hurt you.
And you're still doing all the work, and there's
Correct.
mistakes that are going to happen. I
Yep.
mean, part of the biggest value that we provide is we're doing the work. We're helping do the work. We're holding your hand and doing the work. So
Yeah. Well, and this is why you offer your complimentary retirement checkpoint review. For those viewers who are newer to the show, explain what someone's going to receive when they schedule that time with you.
Yeah, so it's a deep dive into, well, it's a introductory dive into your current financial situation. So we're going to take a look at your current investment allocation. Is that in line with your retirement income strategy and your tax strategy? What is your insurance situation? Do you have proper protection in place? Are you overpaying for the protection you do have? And then do you have the proper estate planning documents in order for your family? So we're going to look at the 5 areas of financial planning. It's an introductory exploration into where you're currently at. It helps us identify what the strengths are. We want to, take advantage of those strengths and put you in a more favorable position there. But more importantly, we want to identify the areas of weakness and see if we can't provide some value in covering some of those areas of weakness and get you into a situation for a better financial future.
Wonderful. Kevin, Pete, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, that number to call to schedule your time to come in and receive your complimentary retirement checkpoint review is there for you on the bottom of your screen, 866-630-1675. Or if you'd rather connect online, simply grab your smartphone. You can scan that QR code there in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, and that will get you connected as well. Stay with us. We'll be back with more on this important and timely conversation on why you can't Google an AI your way to a better retirement right after this.
When it comes to retirement, there's a lot of confusion out there. You work hard, save what you can, and yet the closer you get, the more uncertain it can feel. That's exactly why my brother Kevin and I wrote Built to Last. After helping families for more than 20 years, we wanted to put everything we've learned into one simple guide to help you move from confusion to confidence. Inside, you'll find strategies to protect your savings, reduce taxes, and create reliable income that lasts throughout retirement. Because retirement shouldn't feel like guesswork. It should feel like peace of mind, knowing you've built something that can stand the test of time. Get your complimentary copy of Built to Last today at cagbook.com, because your future deserves to be built to last.
Imagine not having to face your retirement with the same old corporate solutions as everyone else. In these economic times, you deserve a fresh perspective that includes a personalized retirement income plan, investment portfolio analysis, and tax map from an independent fiduciary advisor whose focus is on you. Call the number you see here to schedule your complimentary review right now.
Welcome back to Retire Well. I'm Kristin Oakley here with both Kevin and Pete from Citizen Advisory Group, and we're so glad you're spending this time with us today. If you're just tuning in, we are having a very interesting and timely conversation centered around the concept of the fact that you cannot Google an AI your way to a better retirement. And you mentioned this earlier that AI is taking over a lot of aspects of our lives. But when it comes to financial and retirement planning, there's a lot of ways it can go wrong. And so we have to discuss belief versus reality. So Pete, where are you seeing folks are running into the most problems when they are trying to do it themselves and use these tools to accomplish those goals?
Right, and that's, I'm gonna beat this dead horse, and this is kind of what I wrapped up last segment with, is the problems really start to happen when you actually have to start doing the work. So when you have to start putting together the portfolio, or you have to actually start modeling out your Social Security or applying for it and figure out taxes and coordinating all those pieces. Again, the AI is a groundwork for that, and it will kind of lay the foundation. But it's just like if you've ever put something together at home. One thing I've learned quickly as a parent is that Santa actually delivers if he delivers a toy or a big gift, he delivers the parts. And I actually still have to do a lot of the work to put that together.
Yes, you
and
do.
So the problem when you're reading those directions and watching a YouTube video on how to do it is when you actually start putting it together and starting to put those things together. And it's the same thing. If you've ever done something in your own life, it looks very easy on video. When you read it, it looks very seamless until you actually start to have to do the work. And that's where I found that most people really run into the problems. And that's 60%, 70% of the game for us is not just the advice, but it's the work we're gonna help you put in to do it.
For sure. And so much of the value that you provide per individual, because you don't do cookie cutter plans, you do custom, individualized, personalized plans for each person you meet with, is timing decisions, because there's so many decisions with your financial life that have to be timed correctly, but specifically for you. So touch on that.
Well, and I'm glad you went there, because that's exactly where my mind went. And we're not suggesting that technology is the enemy, because it's actually a great thing if it's used properly and we understand what its capabilities are and what we should be using it for. Like, it's great for systematizing some of our operations at our office. It's great for helping with some of our messaging. It provides really good information, but what it's not intended to do is to give judgments, right? So timing is a really good example of that. There are certain decisions we have to make that timing is important. Social Security benefits is a perfect example of that. And AI would be a great tool to kind of give you a general overview of Social Security benefits and when people should take it in a utopian world that doesn't exist. But what we have to do, and what the human element, and only the human element can do, is take that information and then understanding an individual's goals and objectives and their situation, we have to then make some judgments. And that is what AI is not intended to do. It's great for gathering information, but it doesn't have the human element on understanding someone's psychology, someone's risk tolerance, for example.
Their health conditions and situations,
So many factors that go into that. And I could tell my AI what my risk tolerance is, but how do I would have to have confidence that I'm articulating that correctly into the system. So it's just not intended to do all of those things. It's a great tool, but it's not intended to do all of those things.
And think about Social Security planning specifically, Kevin, and when we use our Social Security software to help us analyze benefits and try to figure out what is the optimal situation for a person, more times than not, isn't the strategy that the software suggests almost always the same thing? I mean, for the most part, based on life expectancy of a married couple, they're almost always going to tell us that mathematically the correct thing to do is for both of those individuals to wait as long as possible until 70 to collect their benefits. Almost every single time based on life expectancy. But we know, adding in the human element, looking at their personal condition, how does the portfolio and the taxes and the health and all of the things interconnect with the decision for Social Security? We have to add in that human element, which is ultimately what helps us make that decision. Not just saying, hey, this is what the software said, let's do it.
Yeah. Well, there's another area that I know we're very passionate about here on the show and at Citizen Advisory Group, and it's helping people plan for taxes. And there's a lot of tax blind spots that folks have in general, but then AI isn't necessarily catching these blind spots. Google's not necessarily catching those things. So talk about this piece, and I know we have a very helpful resource we're going to share with folks as well.
Yeah, I mean, so there's so many intertwined pieces that make up our tax code. I mean, there's a reason why the tax code is a book that's this big, right?
Yes. Yep.
So AI would be very capable of in reading and interpreting that, but pulling it all together into an individual situation. And you know, from my experience in working with AI, it's actually somewhat similar. It's tax adverse, meaning it's going to try to delay the taxation and kick the tax down the road, knowing that at some point you're going to have to deal with it. So,
Right.
and in the real world, that's not always the right way to do it. So we have to be able to look at taxes. We can use AI as part of the conversation to gather information, but it can't be used to make some of the judgments about should we Roth convert? Should we be realizing gains this year? What's going to be the impact if I do take extra income to the taxation of my dividends and interest and my capital gains? So there's a lot of blind spots there,
Right.
with one big one being what's going to be the future impact when I have to start drawing distributions out of my IRA and 401k accounts.
Yep. Well, that's why we want to offer our tax bill calculator to you. Now, here's the good news. I know we're talking about not using technology that can steer you the wrong direction. This software will actually help you anticipate what your potential tax bill might be throughout the rest of your life so that you can have that awareness. That's where it all starts. And then take the necessary steps to start reducing that potential tax liability. So we invite you to visit mytaxbilltest.com. You can also get there by scanning that QR code. And when you visit the site, here is what you're going to see. It's going to take you to the simple landing page. You'll put in some very basic information, no strings attached, your name, the email address that you want the complimentary report sent to, as well as your current age, so that the software can accurately help you anticipate what your potential tax bill might be for the rest of your life. Then you're going to put in how much money you have saved up in tax-deferred accounts. For you, that could be a traditional 401k, traditional IRA, things of that nature. You'll notice two little sliders that you can play around with and adjust. One is for the assumed tax liability, the other is for the assumed growth rate on that tax-deferred bucket of money. Then, once you click submit, two things are going to happen. Instantly, side by side, you're going to see the difference between the government's tax plan for you on the left if you do nothing versus how much less you could pay in tax there on the right-hand side. But that's not all. You're also going to receive a complimentary 4-page report emailed to you showing you the breakdown of your numbers. And once folks see these numbers side by side, guys, you can't unsee it, right? I think folks are a lot more motivated to take steps, to take actions, to work with your team, to help them reduce that tax liability. Because if you're asking how much tax someone wants to pay, pretty sure they're going to choose the right-hand side of that page every time, right?
Yeah, and going back to this data is based on some assumptions, and those assumptions are going to change every single year.
Right.
So this is, again, just it's supposed to be an information gatherer. It's supposed to be a thought starter. There still needs to be the human element and some oversight involved in that when we're using it.
Yeah, I would say this tool we want to use in the same way we're suggesting we use good Google searches,
Yes,
and it's a good starting place to start to have a real conversation on how can you actually start to make better financial decisions to improve your future.
Yes, so we encourage you to visit mytaxbilltest.com. But again, that's just the first way the team of Citizen Advisory Group is going to be able to help you. The next step is for you to come in and sit down in the privacy of their offices and have them build you your very own complimentary retirement checkpoint review. 866-630-1675 is the number to call to schedule yours. Or again, you're welcome to scan that QR code and that will get you connected as well. We'll be back with more right after this.
There's no shortage of opinions about annuities. Some people love them, others hate them. But here's what matters. The right annuity in the right situation can solve very specific retirement challenges. Whether it's guaranteed income, market protection, or legacy planning, different annuities are built to serve different purposes. The problem is too many people own annuities that no longer match their goals, or worse, never did. Some have high fees, others come with outdated features, and too often, people buy them without understanding what they're getting. If you've been holding on to an annuity for years, or if you're not sure exactly what you have or how it works, now is the time to take a second look. Our complimentary annuity review can help you understand what you own, what it's doing for you, and whether something better is available in today's market. Refinance your annuity today and make sure it's working for you, not against you.
Welcome back to Retire Well, where today we've been discussing this dilemma that we are all facing of where does AI fit into financial planning and why you can't necessarily Google or AI your way to a better retirement. And before the break, we did share with you our tax bill calculator. If you've not yet taken advantage of this free resource, we encourage you to do so. You can access it by going to mytaxbilltest.com. But guys, I think as we wrap up today's conversation, what we really want to hit home is what it looks like to have a real plan and why the human element still matters in that process.
Yeah, so I think a real plan looks like it starts by either having a savings plan if you're still working, or a withdrawal plan if you're working. So we call that retirement planning. That then sets the tone for what the investment plan should look like. So what's the investment allocation? We put a tax overlay over the top of that so that we know what the current and future tax liabilities look like. We then look at what insurances are needed to put some protection around that plan, and then setting up an estate plan. So having a real plan looks like that. And when you have a real plan, and again, we can use AI to assist us in that process, but AI can't connect these areas like a human advisor can.
Right.
And the beauty of having a plan is you have a plan, and when life hits you in the face, because sometimes it does, you will know how to react. Because when we don't have a plan, we tend to act irrationally when something goes wrong, whether it's the stock market or a job loss. But having a plan allows us to act rationally and make common sense decisions as opposed to acting impulsively and irrationally.
Yeah, and that's our favorite, one of our favorite sayings in the office. I don't know why it is. We like athletics and sports. But Mike Tyson says, everyone has a plan until you get punched in the mouth.
Yes.
And you're gonna get punched in the mouth a lot of times. And to Kevin's point, when you have that plan, it's gonna really dictate what you're supposed to do when that happens. And just to kind of wrap things up, you know, we're not suggesting that technology is bad and that AI is the enemy, at least yet, I don't think. You talk to some clients and friends, they might suggest that, but it's good. You know, it's got to be used as a complement. It's got to be used correctly, and we have to kind of add in the human element with that to make sure we're getting the most out of it.
It's a tool, it's not the end-all be-all, and I'm so grateful that folks have you and the team of Citizen Advisory Group to provide that all-essential, wonderful human element. So Pete, Kevin, thank you both so much, and thank you for watching. Again, that number to call to schedule your time for your complimentary retirement checkpoint review is 866-630-1675, or you're welcome to scan that QR code and that will get you connected as well. Be blessed, and we look forward to being back with you next time here on Retire Well. Thanks for watching.